morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by Amazon Prime for January 29th, 2026. I'm Dave DuFour here with Zena Keita. Coming up, the Spurs pick up a big win in the West. We talked to Dan Woike about LeBron and we were wondering, is this his last season? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Zena. How's it going?
Always wonderful after you see a great night of basketball.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, listen, it's the schedule is kind of up and down right now. There's the bad weather stuff affecting everything. But, you know, we get a big Knicks Raptors game. We're going to talk to S in a minute because he was there for that game. But first, before we get to that, Houston, San Antonio, big Western Conference matchup. And I have been doubting the Rockets. I spent the first 2.5 quarters of this game being ready to eat crow on the show. Okay. And, you know, look, we found out yesterday that Steven Adams had season-ending surgery on that left ankle that he injured. And this has been one of my big concerns about them. And every single one of my concerns about the Houston Rockets came to fruition the last 18 minutes of the basketball game. The Spurs win 111-99. And largely, Zena, because the Rockets don't generate enough threes. Their offense doesn't have enough rhythm, really, when you're able to sag off Amen Thompson the way that the Spurs were able to and just dare him to shoot. That worked. And without Steven Adams, they weren't owning the offensive glass, so they weren't getting those second chance points. It was a rough night for the Rockets, and they started out so well.
They really did. And the Spurs were able to recuperate in the second half, which is huge considering the fact that they weren't at home. They're still getting back to having Devin Vassell back into the lineup, and they came in. You were like, it looks like the athleticism for Houston and just the ability to create shots and hit them is going to outlast the Spurs. But thank God for Victor Wembanyama. Ended up with 28 and 16 for the night, 13 and 9 in that fourth quarter. He really came alive, but it was a full team effort, incredibly balanced. You saw Devin Vassell doing what he needed to do, not only from a defensive end, but also just being able to organize this team, which is always great, being able to allow De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle and everyone to be in the right places out on the floor when you have him. He's such a connector for their different lineups. You saw Victor Wembanyama be good all the way throughout a game, which is so huge, especially against an opponent like this. We've seen Victor Wembanyama be phenomenal, be absurd, make crazy plays, have crazy games, have crazy stat lines. But it's been a matter of, can he do it consistently? Can he do it back to back? And being able to do this against a team like the Rockets that technically not at full health, especially with Steven Adams out, but they had Tari Eason back. They had Jabari Smith Jr. They had the length. And Clint Capella is not a center I would scoff at. So,
well, again, the first 2.5 quarters, the offensive rebounding was there. I mean, look, when you look at the box score, 17-8 offensive rebounding advantage for the Rockets. The problem was that it dried up in the second half, right? Like it's just,
and the Rockets went 1 for 6 from 3,
right? And
that was a change, right? We were in the first quarter like I was going to eat crow about the whole comment we keep making about the Houston Rockets can't shoot. Reed Shepard was out there shooting. Jabari Smith Jr. was out there shooting. Albert Şengün found a shot. I mean, it was just threes galore, it felt like, in the first half. And then all of a sudden, you recognize and realize, ooh, these are the Rockets we're talking about. And you realize how much pestering Stephon Castle can do. Because he was on Kevin Durant. I was going to say Kevon Durant. He was on Kevin Durant like white on rice. It was annoying. He was in his jersey. And then you saw Houston resort back to what they do. When defense picks up and physicality picks up, they go one-on-one a lot. And that's when their offense kind of shut down. Yeah.
It was a rough night for him. But again, to mention Wemby one more time, since that little knee injury that he picked up, whatever that was, 3 or 4 weeks ago, he hasn't quite looked right. And I still think defensively, he's not moving the way that we're used to, but 28 points, 16 rebounds. I mean, it's a big night for him. You mentioned Steph Castle. I'm shocked that Steph Castle is able to guard a guy of Kevin Durant's size so effectively. Wemby comes over and picks up the block at the end, kind of steals his thunder a little bit down the stretch. But I mean, amazing defense from them.
You don't get to that shot clock violation without Stephon Castle breathing down the neck, or really up the jersey.
Yeah.
If we're looking at height differential of Kevin Durant.
Also, the Spurs guards, they've been struggling lately, but I think getting Devin Vassell back, just kind of lets everyone play a little bit more of where they ought to be.
Exactly.
Keldon Johnson also, by the way, he
was
really good. Really good.
He should put on
game.
a post-move clinic, and I think he's underrated in that department. Like, people
I don't know
realize.
if it's just because he's on the Spurs or if it's like the number 3, but man, he's starting to feel like Boris Diaw to me sometimes.
Oh,
I mean, he's like
that.
Listen, he's a little thick. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of it, but there's something that is hearkening back to those Diaw years. Look, we got a big game in the Eastern Conference between the Raptors and the Knicks. So let's go to S. And joining us where the Raptors got smoked by the Knicks. Although, look, they tricked us in the first half, S. Baraheni here after the Raptors lose to the Knicks, 119-92. Zena, look, we were watching this. We're thinking, the daily curse. We got 2 guests. There's no way we're cursing both teams. And then, man, the bottom fell out for the Raptors.
Voila. Don't ever doubt us, Dave. Don't ever doubt us.
We're powerful. What happened, S?
Look, it was a tale of two halves, and I think a lot of it came down to 3-point shooting. The Knicks were on fire in the second half, and I think a lot of that has to do with the volume that they get up.
Right.
Like the Raptors deal with, I'll say it like this, the Raptors have a math problem. They have an absolute math problem. They're near the bottom of the league when it comes to 3-point attempts, near the bottom of the league when it comes to 3-point percentage. And so when you're facing a team like the Knicks that, one, likes to shoot a lot of threes and also makes a lot of threes, you end up being at a disadvantage already offensively. And, turnovers didn't allow for the Raptors to get into their transition game as often as they'd like. But truthfully, this Raptors team definitely has a math problem, especially when it comes to playing teams that have very elite offenses like the Knicks do.
It felt like the Raptors came into this game with an agenda. Like the way they were playing defense in that first half, the way they came out, the row and bows, it felt like they were playing to prove something. Did Darko or anyone talk about that pregame? Did you get that sense?
No, he likes to take pressure off of the guys so much. And basically every time I've asked him or another member of the media has asked him whether he cares about these matchups against the top Eastern Conference teams, and he's like, I don't even know where the Raptors are in the standings. He said he's not checking the standings until the All-Star break. And I don't necessarily believe
he
that.
He also said that he hopes that the big acquisition that they get at the trade deadline is Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, but I'm sure he's hoping it's Giannis and not Jakob. Come on. He is not. Listen, nice guy. I appreciate how nice he's being.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, listen, they are physical, though, to Zena's point. I mean, not just this game. But especially, I felt like in the first half of this game, they were just overtly physical, like hit you in the face. And look, to the Knicks' credit, I thought they were going to fold. When Toronto got out to that nice lead in the second quarter, we've seen the Knicks not be able to come back from that, especially here lately. The Knicks came out after halftime, and it was just like a completely different world for the Raptors. So you say they have a math problem. They took 11 fewer shots. You can't lose at the 3-point line and not win in the turnover battle and on the offensive glass. So I think there's more than just the threes there. And they typically are a little bit better on the glass. New York got to them, though, and I think it's because of there was a lack of concentration in the second half. Mitchell Robinson didn't play in this game for the Knicks. There's no excuse. You're not allowed to lose the rebounding battle.
No, yeah, you're right. And I think a lot of the physical defense that you guys mentioned, they love to live in rotation. And so when you're in rotation, when you're switching a lot, you're not able to box out as often as you want to, right? Those rebounds fly all over the place. And I think the Knicks were on it a little bit more than the Raptors are. To the point about how physical they can be, if this Raptors team can't impose themselves physically on another team, it's a big disadvantage for them offensively. They just, much like the Rockets, right, that crash the offensive glass, that love to work in the mid-range area. If the Raptors can't get off their game in the mid-range area with Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, and then also win the physicality advantage, they just can't win games. It's one of those things where the matchup is so much of a hurdle for them to come across that they can't do it.
There's also the factor that they weren't able to get off of something that they've been struggling with, I think, all season long, which is getting the ball to move to easy open shots. Like in the second half, you saw that exposed where the New York Knicks were able to find shots and also hit them, which we know that that's what they're capable of doing when their offense is rolling. But this is a problem I think that Toronto has had pretty much all season, is just not being able to create shots for each other, not only in transition. I mean, you think about the first half, the New York Knicks turned the ball over 10 times, and the Raptors were only able to get 2 points off of that. Meanwhile, they turned the ball over 8 times, and the Knicks are able to get 15 points off of that. This is also part of the math problem, is that you can't have an offense that depends so much on Emmanuel Quickley getting to his spots, BI getting to his spots, Barrett getting to his spots, and then once in a while, Scotty Barnes being able to roll and be wide open or being able to clean up the glass. Like their offensive ball movement just really got exposed tonight or last night.
I completely agree. No, I completely agree. They run in transition a lot. They're number one in transition frequency, but they're not that high up in transition efficiency. Like they can't score that frequently in transition. And I think part of that is, it's shot making. It's 3-point shooting and not being able to like capitalize on those moments. The Raptors are now 1-9 against the top 4 teams in either conference. Yeah. They've struggled to beat any of these good teams. And I think, part of the conversation we've had as a group about whether this team is legit or not, I think it comes back to hurt them in these moments where they clearly are a little bit young, a little bit unproven, and these guys need to have some playoff experience to see what they're capable of moving forward.
They got to figure out the offense. They need some players. They need a point guard. I really think that they could use a center. I know Scotty Barnes has basically been their center for the last 20, 25 games or so, but they could use a real center. If Jakob Poeltl's not going to come back. I mean, they've got some moves, but for a young team, I mean, this is better than expected, in my opinion, coming in.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not shocked that they're getting beat by good teams. Anyway, guys, stick around after the break. We got Dan Woike to talk about the Lakers getting blown out in Cleveland. LeBron, a little bit of emotional warfare there from the Cavs with that tribute video. The NBA Daily curse rambles on. We booked Dan Woike, and the Lakers get blown out by 30. Now, Dan, look.
Wasn't my fault, Dave. It wasn't me.
It's not your fault. It's our fault.
Okay.
And it's the Cleveland Cavaliers' fault. Because I have a theory here about these tribute videos. And I think that they just wrecked LeBron James' mindset by making him so emotional, thinking about his career, that there was no way he was going to have a good game. I mean, I've never seen LeBron sitting there in tears during a basketball game. This is next level sort of subterfuge and tactics by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tip the cap, I guess.
I like this theory. It would be a great play when you do tribute videos to just have subliminal, really, really sad images, just
show
flash,
pictures of
really
them with
quickly.
their children, you know.
Maybe a childhood pet that's crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Or something like that.
Oh, no. Now we're going from bittersweet to morbid. Yeah, okay. We don't need to go Pet Cemetery on this. I won't touch that one. But it stood out when you were watching the game at home. Yeah. I'm sure they're in the arena. And then after the game, LeBron's comments, which I'll let you get into. It seems like LeBron, look, obviously this is year 23. He's toward the end. But it does seem like this could be it. Is this going to be the last year of LeBron James' career?
I don't know. I don't think he knows. I don't think the fans know, which is why this was so emotional, right? Because it more so than ever, this really felt is this the last time he'll ever play in Cleveland? I think there was an element of that energy in the build up to the game. Right. And whether that was we put that into the ether around LeBron, or whether it was, something he was thinking about. He didn't talk after the game in Chicago. I would assume in part because he didn't want to talk about this. You know what I mean? Didn't want to talk about returning to Cleveland and the emotions that went with that. I think he's been pretty honest about, like you said, Dave, I mean, he's 41 years old, right? It's almost over one way or the other. Right.
That's how I feel every day.
Yeah, I thought what was fascinating tonight was his post game was the most interesting thing tonight.
My mom get to watch her son or grandson play in the NBA at the same time. I actually just started to think about how insane that is.
During the game, like there were like 3 moments really in total that I thought were sort of like the headline moments, right? The tribute video, one, which happens weirdly enough right after Luka Doncic falls off the elevated court that exists in Cleveland for some reason.
Crazy.
So as Luka is limping to the locker room, the Lakers are forced to take a timeout to stop action, whatever. Then it's the first time out of the game. The video plays, and the crowd is into it. LeBron is very focused on it, and then he has to like cover his face with his jersey on the bench, like that to me. And then eventually, as he gets up off the bench, has a tissue and like legitimately wipes tears out of his eyes. That I haven't really seen that level of emotion from him as a Laker. I think that was as like in the moment reflective as he's been, and it was, they showed highlights from, the fourth quarter he had against the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs where I think he scored like 26 straight points or whatever the number, like some absurd number. Like it's a real 10-pole game for him. One of his best games in Cleveland. And then he walks up the court and wasn't done, by the way, had to go back and do the jersey to the eye again, both eyes. Allergies were bad. And then the third moment, which happened at the start of the game, was he did his chalk toss, did the jersey that's too small, he stretched it out. Normally, he kind of hovers around midcourt. He walked to the corner and like looked up into the corner. And after the game, I asked him, like, what were you looking for? Were you looking for the banner? Like, what was it? And it was his mother. He was looking for his mother, who was in a suite with family and friends and had that moment too. And like, really, like each of these were very like deliberate. And he talked about it after the game, like, I'm present in the moment right now. These are like when they tell you you're getting married to like take like digital snapshots, like in your brain, like that type of thing. Cause it all goes by so fast. These were his snapshots. You could see it. Right. And then after the game, like basically when we asked him about it, he was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be back. That doesn't mean I'm not going to ever be back. But I don't know. And like in total, he spoke for 15 minutes. If I had to like split it up, he probably answered 12 minutes of questions about like his retirement, his basketball mortality, whatever. I would say 6 minutes of that, if you heard a very like prescribed 6 minutes, you'd be convinced he was done. And if you heard 6 other minutes, you'd be convinced he'd be back playing somewhere next year. And that is crazy. I know he's calculating and he's really good at this media stuff. That can't be intentional. I think like it is both. Like he got asked a question by a local reporter here about the lack of black NFL head coaches in this hiring cycle. And he started talking about Mike Tomlin. And like in the middle of that answer, he talked about the joy he saw in Mike Tomlin's face when he watched his daughter doing gymnastics at Georgia. Right? Like LeBron James has a daughter who plays volleyball.
Right.
Right? Yep. Like, but then I asked him, why are you still playing? And he's like, because I want to squeeze every ounce of juice like out of this orange. Like, what do those two things tell you about retirement? The opposite. They tell you totally opposite things. And there was a lot of that post game, which was, I mean, I said it. I was like, if you want to make the argument for why LeBron's the greatest, he just talked 15 minutes about his retirement. I have no idea what he's going to do. I have no idea.
Honestly, I mean, listen, it was
GOAT level stuff.
Touching. It was touching to watch, again, I mean, we've all, I've watched this entire career, and the Cleveland thing, if this is a bookend on Cleveland, it ending with him getting to watch his son play in the game is also a little bit like when we think about LeBron and the whole legacy thing, like that is also interesting because it really does. That's an exclamation point on his longevity.
Yeah. I mean, I think on one way, right? Like, I mean, he played like trash. Like this was the worst game he's had since he turned 41. One of the worst games he's had this season. By far the worst game he has had as an opponent against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right. And if that was the way the story was going to end, it was kind of like, the sad trombone, you guessed too much money in the Price is Right song. Right. Like that's like kind of what it was. The the Bronny part of it, though, is like a nice reminder, right? Like this stuff is all bigger than us, right? Like we are what we do, but like we're also like what we leave in this world and what we put like forwards and stuff like that. And that's not to say it's always about like children or whatever and like the kids you have, but like, you know, that's a huge part of it. And I think like for LeBron, right? Like I don't know how to say this. Like I know people around the NBA and NBA fans like feel a certain way about Bronny James. Like Bronny being like one of the most well-liked people inside the Lakers locker room and being like a normal, like good kid that like people are like genuinely rooting for is a very real thing. And is a tremendous legacy as a parent, you know, like good on Savannah, good on Gloria, like good on the people that, you know, good on LeBron when he was around in the summers and stuff like that. Right. Like the people around Bronny James, like put him in a situation where he can handle a building full of people who want to see him as some sort of like sideshow or whatever it is. And like, he went out there today and performed. And that is like a fun, I like that as a bookend. Like that is sort of like, as we talk about life and accomplishment and stuff like that, there are worse ways for chapters to end.
And that's the thing that I keep thinking about is you just talked about, you know, wanting to squeeze the juice out of everything. It made me immediately think of Tom Brady. It makes me think of Kobe.
Makes me think of Encino Man. Sorry. That's an insane reference.
You're the only person to think of Encino Man in 30 years.
Probably.
Squeeze that juice. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. That is completely over my head, by the way. I do not
I'll send a link.
It's okay.
Not
It's
a big
okay.
Pauly Shore fan?
No, it's not for me. But what is for me is, you know, Dan's pieces. And Dan, you just did a piece about this, like, I don't know what you would call it, kerfuffle in the Lakers organization. And you think about a beautiful end to this story. And, you know, LeBron riding out into the sunset, this feels like a record scratch in this story that's come out that you reported on, this conversation around Jeannie Buss, the Buss family, and how LeBron was regarded with some of the decisions, et cetera. One, I'm curious, do we feel like the organization's moving past that from what you've gathered and what you've seen?
No question.
Okay. And then two, does this have any, is there any question about Bronny's next phase with the Lakers because of this conversation?
Well, yeah, I mean, so I think I'd like to view these things as like separate events. Obviously, like they share a name. They share DNA. So like they're like literally and figuratively connected. I want to read you this quote. Somebody asked him why it's so hard for guys to stick the landing when it comes to their retirement. He said, what do you mean stick the landing as far as what? And the person said, end your career on a perfect note. This is what he said. I don't know, but what's perfect? What defines perfect? I don't think that's for every individual. I don't think whatever brings you the most happiness is what probably defines perfect for you individually. It's not defined off wins and losses or championship here, an all-star here, or whatever the case might be. I think it's defined as what makes you happy in your last season. That's what he said about that. Here's what's crazy. I don't really know what makes him happy at this stage. I think it's still winning.
Sure.
I think part of it is performing. I think part of it is like looking in the mirror and seeing the gray hairs in your beard and like feeling your back ache and, you know, just like the general brain fog that comes with doing this, you know, 1,600 some odd times or whatever the number is, playing more season than anybody else, like, and being like, how much further can I push this? Right. Like that's part of it too. There isn't though, like this really clear, well-defined, like this is what I want. This is how I'm going to get it. And then I'll be done. Which is like, I also think is sort of perfect because like what, like we're witnessing, right? Oh God, I hate that I said that. We are seeing here in Cleveland. And really every night he plays, we're watching a player do stuff that's never been accomplished in the NBA.
Yeah. He's an astronaut, man.
Yeah. As someone who tries to write about that though, that's a tough story to tell because it's like, think about it as like a frontiersman, right? Like the first person who stepped foot, like out of the colonies, that was a super important step. Guess what was even more important? The next two you took. and I don't know where it ends. I don't know. I think I talked to a Lakers player today who said that he thought he's moving well enough to play 2 to 3 more years.
For sure.
That's what he wanted.
Listen, and he's smart enough. And with the way the league works, he's going to sell tickets. Even if he just signs for a team and says, hey, I'm going to play only home games and I'll play in the playoffs. I mean, he could do this for forever. Honestly, there's no rules in college basketball anymore. And I'm assuming he's got 4 years of eligibility.
I like
what
this
if he
idea.
just go cruise and win a national title?
Just goes to Ohio State?
Yeah, why not? Go to Ohio State, go to Duke. Who cares? I mean, that would be it. They just allow anything in college now.
The millions he's made.
It doesn't
matter.
They don't care. It's all about the millions they're going to make.
They have to have this script at Spring Hill already, for some zany LeBron back to school.
Played by Michael B. Jordan, though. We can't have LeBron.
Type of comedy.
The reason why I know he didn't plan this stuff is because I've seen him act in movies. He's not that good of an actor. This was real.
He was good at. He's played himself. He's played himself twice.
Yeah, sure, but he's not.
And he went
like
1
a
for
character.
2, 3 times.
I don't think he's crying.
I didn't see a house party.
All right, look, before we let you get out of here, because I don't know if we're going to talk to you until the trade deadline. Okay, trade deadline's a week away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping you're going to make the live stream that we're going to do on the YouTube channel next week.
I think I can pull that off.
I believe that you're going to be booked.
Soft commitment.
What are the Lakers doing? Just tell us right now. We don't want to wait.
Spoil it. Dave, that is the question I asked myself. And that's the question I asked myself throughout the second half tonight. What are the Lakers doing? I think they have 4 type of need areas, I would say, that are pretty obvious. They need to get better on the glass. They need more athleticism. Shooting would be great. And they want to do those things with limited assets and not a willingness to take on more money. So it's going to be hard. It's like an uphill climb, right?
Yeah.
Basically impossible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not anticipating anything big. I don't know if I told you guys this the last time, though, we talked about trades. I will tell you today. I've outed myself on other platforms about this. Last year, before the Luka Doncic trade, the night of the Luka Doncic trade, LeBron James and I had a conversation in the locker room at Madison Square Garden. We were talking about the upcoming trade deadline. And we had been talking about trades for, about a week or so, maybe even longer, about what the team needs, what can they actually accomplish, stuff like that. And I was of the belief that there really wasn't much out there for them, particularly at center. They'd been looking for a center. And I told LeBron that night, I really don't think you guys are doing anything. Maybe Day'Ron Sharpe. Maybe we could get Day'Ron Sharpe done. Otherwise, I don't really see a deal. I was like, yeah, that's kind of my vibe too. And within 15 minutes after that, they traded for Luka Doncic. Okay. So maybe there's some crazy Giannis move up their sleeves or something like that. I don't believe it. I don't think they have the assets to get it done.
Yeah.
They haven't shown a real willingness to take on the kind of long-term money that could put them into some other conversations for players that would seemingly check some of these need boxes, right? I mean, I'm just making this up. If you were I need a more athletic wing who can shoot threes and incredibly play point of attack defense, you would maybe call Portland about Jeremy Grant. That's the type, you know what I mean? In a vacuum, you would maybe do that. That's not the kind of contract that they want on the books. That's just not where they're at, right? Their books are pretty clean next year, in particular because of LeBron's contract coming off of them.
Right.
They have Austin Reeves on a really low cap hold. I believe they want to re-sign him, but they can have some maneuverability in that sense. So I think taking on long-term contracts, big money contracts, doesn't seem like it's really what they want to do. However, if there was a way to get a player that checks some of these boxes now and fits their future timeline, with their Herb Jones is a name that's been mentioned.
Sure, I think he's not a Murphy or something like that.
Yeah, but those guys aren't available. But they would be they'd be willing to take on longer term deals for players that they would feel you asked earlier, is have they moved on? Right. One of you guys asked it. And it's this is how they moved on. Right. They are building around Luka. They're not building around LeBron. They're building around Luka. And so if you're a player that fits those boxes, I think they'll be in those conversations. I'm anticipating a much quieter deadline than last year, but apparently I was anticipating Day'Ron Sharpe last year. So who knows?
It's going to be Day'Ron Sharpe this year. Maybe that's
he would
the
help
move that they make.
He would help.
Maybe
I mean,
Daniel
look,
Gafford.
I mean, look, that's a good name for them. I think there's real interest there. There might even be mutual interest. I don't know how much interest there is from the Dallas Mavericks to do a Lakers trade to help the Lakers get better.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've got some bad PR
I would say I'd be a little leery of that.
Yeah, because you're not going to get a lot back in return. All right, guys, go and read Dan over at The Athletic. Thank you, Dan Woike, for hanging out with us. Thanks to Zena Keita. I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us. Cheers.